A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill. If you are indoors, stay indoors. If you are outdoors, seek immediate shelter in a building. Remain indoors well away from windows. If you are driving, pull safely to the side of the road and seek shelter in a building or lay on the floor. We will announce when the threat has ended. This is not a drill. Take immediate action measures. Repeat. The U.S. Pacific Command has detected a missile threat to Hawaii. A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see, and have not seen it. To hear what you hear, and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise, and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
The emergency alert caused pandemonium when it went out to cell phones this morning across the islands, and it did not mince words. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii, it said. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. The false alert also went out on local TV.
The U.S. Pacific Command has detected a missile threat to Hawaii
and prompted evacuation announcements.
Please report to the lobby to receive direction to the basement.
Desperate parents put their children into manholes. Terrified families huddled in closets. Others shared what they thought could be their final goodbyes.
And I just wanted to know that I love you guys. We thought this was it.
Laurie Callies and her family ran to their basement for cover.
My 95-year-old mother, who we were not going to say anything to until we had all the information, who lives in a retirement community here, called us on the phone and she said, I can't get on the floor. I can't get on the floor.
This all comes as tensions continue to grow with North Korea's Kim Jong-un and his threats of a nuclear attack.
Kim Jong-un was the happiest guy in the world yesterday because his nuclear program has done what he wanted it to do, and that is be able to strike fear in the hearts of the American people.
It took 13 minutes for Hawaii's Emergency Management Agency to tweet, "No missile threat to Hawaii." But it took 38 minutes to get out a cell phone alert telling people it was a false alarm. Hawaii's governor says the employee who claims to have pushed the wrong button feels terrible about what happened. The governor doesn't want any more practicing of the emergency alert system until a full investigation is done. And when it is complete, the governor wants 2 people to now be involved in pressing that button.
In a show of force, the Pentagon deployed 3 nuclear-capable B-2 stealth bombers along with 200 airmen to Guam overnight, closer to the Korean peninsula. Defense officials said the deployment had been scheduled for months.
I think when we move bombers across the globe, we send a signal to everyone.
The B-2 is just one component of the nuclear triad slated for upgrade. The U.S. nuclear arsenal has not been modernized in decades. Its missiles date back to the 1970s. This week, details of the Pentagon's long-awaited nuclear posture review leaked to the public and revealed the Trump administration wants more flexibility to respond with nuclear weapons to an attack. The U.S. wants to develop a new low-yield tactical version of the Trident missile launched from submarines. John Wolfstall, an arms control expert who worked for President Obama, has read the plan and is alarmed.
I think the document really goes off the rails by calling for the development of not 1 but 2 new types of nuclear weapons that would be deployed both on submarines and on surface ships. It talks about wanting to increase the role of nuclear weapons, that the United States might use them not in fewer situations but in more situations.
Until now, rebel groups in Syria have used remote-controlled drones like the ones in these propaganda videos to drop bombs on targets. So now picture 10 drones, all together, all weaponized, and all headed to the same target. The Russian Defense Ministry said it suffered the first mass attack by drones guided by a GPS system at its base in northwestern Syria. Another 3 targeted its naval base at Tartus. 7 drones were shot down. The remaining ones were electronically jammed and forced to land. Neither base suffered any casualties. The Russians released these pictures today showing what they recovered. Attack drones, partly made of wood and held together with masking tape. A deadly mix of low and high tech, according to former British Army weapons expert Pete Norton.
This particular attack is the number of drones involved against a single target and the fact that they've been launched on what appears to be a completely autonomous mission.
These drones can carry up to as many as 10 bombs each and have a longer range, more than 60 miles.
Bodies were scattered all over the streets in central Baghdad. 2 suicide bombers detonated their explosives during morning rush hour in El Tehran Square. Dozens were killed and wounded. Chocolate bars sold in the busy marketplace were scattered in the debris and blood. It's become a deadly routine as people of the Iraqi capital quickly try to resume their lives. El Tehran Square is a busy intersection in eastern Baghdad between Sadr City and Al Jumeirah Bridge. The area is full of laborers on their way to work in the morning.
I was here when the blast took place. I heard 2 blasts. Many people got killed, mainly workers.
There was another attack in northeastern Baghdad. 3 people were killed, including a member of the Iraqi Ministry of Defense. Attacks have risen in the last 48 hours. 8 people were killed in a suicide bombing on Sunday in the Al Termiya area north of Baghdad. Last month, Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi declared victory against ISIL, saying the war against the group was over. But the victory is yet to be translated into an end to attacks. The UN says last month alone, at least 69 civilians were killed in violence and armed conflict, highlighting the fragility of Iraq's peace as world attention fades after the declared defeat of ISIL.
Aerial drone footage of the thick sludge and debris on Highway 101 helps explain why part of California's busiest freeway is still shut down, days after the mudslide that now covers 30 square miles of Santa Barbara County. Crews are working around the clock to clear roads and restore power, but 7,000 people are still under a mandatory evacuation order. Through damaged cars, trees on the ground, and debris from people's homes, search teams continue to look for victims.
You never give up hope. I mean, why give up hope? I mean, there's people down there who are hoping. I mean, what right do I have to give up hope?
We can't get in the car. It's being swept away by a 5-6 foot wall of mud and debris.
David Grockenberger described what he saw on Tuesday as apocalyptic.
And then I looked over and said, where's the 3-car garage? It was gone. I don't mean just a stick or a roof. It wasn't there.
Cell phone video shows the mud filling up the family home, quickly rising stair by stair. But the house remained intact, and the family was able to escape. Some of their neighbors did not.
We lost some of our best family friends, and what all these other families are going through, it's we're lucky, but it's just hard to think about how lucky we are when they were not so lucky.
Angry crowds denounced the arrests of hundreds of people. The government says those who have been detained were involved in attacks against police stations. The protesters, on the other hand, accused Tunisian authorities of an indiscriminate crackdown.
The biggest problem is with those who govern us. Nothing has changed in Tunis. It's the same elite that govern us, the same tactics. They clamp down on our freedoms. If you express your views on the streets, you end up in jail. The police are chasing us.
These are tense times in the country. Prime Minister Youssef Chahid has visited some of the areas of the protests. He's accused the Popular Front, a coalition of leftist opposition parties, of inciting unrest. But the opposition insists the rallies are legitimate expressions of frustration over a government they say has betrayed its own people. Army units have been deployed in many cities to protect government buildings and prevent a descent into chaos.
Street vendors had arrived early, only to find their illegal market stalls shut down. They quickly turned their anger on the security forces brought in to send them home. They'd set up shop in defiance of emergency measures that banned public gatherings and imposed a curfew. The government says marketplaces like these are breeding grounds for cholera, and while it accepts the new rules are tough, it isn't backing down. The riot happened in Kanyama, a low-income township that is home to more than 350,000 people. It's one of 2 townships on the outskirts of the capital Lusaka where cholera broke out in late September. The disease quickly spread to the city and infected almost 3,000 people in about 3.5 months. Cholera is a bacterial disease usually spread through contaminated water. Left untreated, it can kill within hours. Last week, the government deployed the army to enforce a raft of new measures to try to contain the national health crisis. Specialist cholera treatment centres closed off to the healthy. An intensive cholera vaccination campaign and a ban on public gatherings that includes funerals, church services, schools and marketplaces like this one in Lusaka. Just last week, street sellers here had pitched in to help the military close it off. Now they're opposing them. And as the impact on livelihoods grows, so too will the concern at the possibility of more civil unrest before the cholera crisis is contained.